Hello everyone, my name is Day Cubit from the Alumni Affairs and Development Annual Giving Programs, and this is the second crowdfunding training focused on communication for your Cornell crowdfunding project. Our training today is going to focus on all aspects of your communication strategy leading up to and during your crowdfunding campaign. We'll talk about a little bit about what we recommend after your campaign is over, and it will primarily focus on email. So this is our agenda for today. We'll start by talking about different strategies that we recommend and we have seen be successful in the past. We'll share the ideal crowdfunding communication timeline and the best practices that go along with that. Then we will show you our communication audit template, which we hope you fill out in order to help you craft your communication strategy and give you a space and an email address to send us questions if you need. So let's begin talking about crowdfunding communication strategies. These are all the channels that you will have available to promote your crowdfunding project. The first channel on here is email. We have seen that email is the single most largest channel to help you fund your campaign. In fact, about 93% of project funds come from direct email outreach. So as I said earlier, we will be focusing on the email communication strategy in this training because we have seen that it is so successful. Of course, you also have other channels that you're welcome to use. Facebook, Twitter, and LinkedIn, social media in general. We do recommend that you spread the word on social media. However, what we have seen is that your friends, family, your contacts are very willing to share via social media, but it does not always turn into gifts. So if you need help spreading the word, please, by all means, use the social media channels, but do not rely on social media to fund your project. That said, if you do not already have a social media presence, a Facebook account, a Twitter account, we do not recommend that you create one just for the purposes of this project. Spreading the word and getting possible gifts from these channels really works if you already have a community out there that is following you, but the process of creating a community to then try to convert them to give you gifts is too labor intensive to be pulled off in the month duration of your crowdfunding project. So we highly recommend that you focus your efforts on your email strategy and use social media as your supporting channels if you already have a presence on there. Phone calls and in-person conversations, you can of course reach out to your contacts, your family, your network, your friends in person or via phone call. Let them know about your project, let them know when you're launching, let them know that it's important to you, and ask them for a gift. The Scale Funder platform allows you to create a short URL, so you can very easily share your project link without it being really long or complicated to remember, which can also be used in print media if that's something that you're interested in. So putting up posters on campus or your local community if you're going to be home during the time of your campaign or you have friends or family that can do that for you back home. We put carrier pigeon on here just to illustrate that really any channel you can use, we want you to use. So for example, if you have a big presentation during the month of your campaign, you're going to be in front of a large group of people, or you're going to be back in a family reunion, take the opportunity to share your project and why it matters, and to ask people to support you by spreading the word, but also by making a gift. So we just wanted to back up our statements with some data here. We have found that emails are really, really, really successful to help you fund your crowdfunding project. So what you see in this pie chart is the blue slice and the red slice are both direct results of emails, personal emails sent by the project leader and the ambassadors. So the percentages represent how much of the project's funding came from that channel. You see social media, it's a very small slice. I mean, there are still gifts that come in through this channel, but it does not make up the significant chunk of your funding. And the organic slice represents people that just search for your project and landed on your page. So that can happen. It can also happen that another project another project got somebody on the site, and that person went to the homepage and looked at all the different projects on there, found yours, was interested, and made a gift. So you will get some additional gifts from these external channels, but as you can see from this pie chart, where your efforts really should be focused is email. So let's take a look at the timeline that we recommend for your communication campaign. This is the pre-launch checklist, and we recommend that all of these items are complete 1 to 2 weeks prior to launch. And this is very important so that we here at A&D can help you make sure everything is complete, proofread, images are looking good, the video is looking good, and everything is ready to go by launch. So number 1 on here is your crowdfunding page. The Scaled Funder platform allows you to go in there and edit your content, your thank you messages, your bios, your images, your video, and you can also add additional people to help you do that. So if you are the project lead and you know that 2 other people on your team are going to help you with the page, you can set that up for them, and they can help you complete that content. But this must be done. We recommend 2 weeks prior to launch so that we have an opportunity to go in there and make sure it all looks tight. The second thing that it's important is the communication audit. The communication audit is essentially an inventory of all the channels that you have available to you to use and when you plan to use them throughout the month. So at the end of the presentation, we're going to share a template that we're going to ask you to fill out and return to your liaison before launch. And the reason that we ask for that is if there is a lull during the month of your project, we can go into your audit and see, okay, well, we're seeing here that you could be using this channel or this other channel. Have you thought about this or that? And it also helps you think about, okay, what am I going to do this whole month so that there is no lull? So we really recommend that you take a look at this audit, fill it out, and really cover all your bases throughout the month. The third thing we want you to think about before you launch is a plan for the thank you emails. So when a donor makes a gift on the platform, they automatically receive an email from the platform, from Scale Funder, that is a very generic thank you with the gift receipt and the tax information. We highly recommend that you send an additional personal thank you to your donor 1 or 2 days after the gift was made, so that you begin to build this relationship with them. You need to cultivate this relationship because maybe next year you want to do another crowdfunding project and you want to reach out to your past donors, or maybe later in the month you want to reach out to them again and ask them to make another gift if you're very close to your goal and only need a little bit to get there. So really take the donor relationship very seriously, plan for your thank you emails, and the reason we ask you to do this before you launch is because typically we see the highest volume of gifts on the first couple of days. So if you don't have a plan to take care of this by then, you will have to scramble on day 1 and day 2. So whether your plan is, there's one person that's just going to focus on sending thank you emails, or you're going to split it between 3 people and take shifts, whatever it may be, what works for you, just make sure you have a plan to look at your donor list and thank these donors in a timely way, in a very personal, timely way. You can access your donor list in the Scale Funder platform in the back end. If you go to the donations menu item and then go to the donations list, you'll see all their names there and their gift amounts, even if they have chosen that to be anonymous on the front-facing side of your page. So you will have access to that information. Do not use it for anything other than sending those thank you emails. And lastly, we do recommend that you send a pre-launch message before your project goes live. Now, when the donor gets to your page, they won't be able to make a gift. However, we have seen that it takes people a couple times before they actually make a gift. So you have to ask them twice or 3 times before they actually make a gift. So this is a way for you to start preparing them. This is going to launch. I will be asking you for your support, and to get them to think about how much they want to contribute and really understand how much this matters to you. So we do recommend that about a week or 3 days before your project launches that you send a pre-message announcing that it's about to go live and that you would really appreciate support. So during the campaign, these are the 6 kind of milestones that are really important in terms of communication. Obviously, the launch email on the first day is a very important email. Send it early in the day. We see, as I mentioned earlier, that the majority of the gifts do come in on the first day. So, or I guess the day with the most gifts is the first day. So please make sure this is sent, and this is sent early on that day. We have seen projects go live, and if there are no launch emails, there are no gifts coming in. So there is a very direct correlation between when you send emails and when you receive gifts. Do not delay on this one. Right away, as you start receiving gifts, start sending the thank yous. Again, really try very hard not to have the thank yous go out more than 2 days after the gift was made. Make it feel immediate, make it feel personal. Then number 3 on here is the 30% momentum update. So you should be targeting to be at 30% by the end of your first week in the project. If you're close, we want you to send an email that says, we're almost at 30%. Please help us get there by the first week. If you have surpassed it, we want you to send an email that says, we made it to 30%. We're a third of the way there. Can you help us? Can you help us keep climbing at this rate? But we definitely want you to send this email, because we have found that projects that hit 30% within the first week are most likely to get completely funded by the end of the month. So really, this is your first kind of big push. You really want to get to 30% on the first week. Halfway through, whether that is money-wise or time-wise, so you're 2 weeks in or you're 50% in from your funding, send the halfway update. And again, if you have not hit 50% by the halfway mark in time, you can say we're halfway through, but we're not quite to 50% yet. Can you help us get to the halfway point? And if you have reached 50%, whether it is halfway there or earlier, make sure you say, we're halfway there. Please help us keep this momentum and get to our full 100% goal. Then number 5 is the final stretch message, and we recommend that this goes about a week to 3 days before your project ends. And this is the one where you use that sense of urgency and you say to your audience and your donors, we're almost there. Can you help us get there? We're really close. Everything counts. And really use that urgency. Say there's 3 days left, there's 2 days left, to get people to act quickly. And you do the same thing on the last day. The last day you say, we have 20 hours, the project ends at midnight tonight. How much more can we do if you have hit your goal? Or can you help us get to 100% if you have not hit your goal? And I guess I should mention this here. Our crowdfunding projects, everything that you raise will be yours, even if you don't hit 100%. That's a little bit different than the way that the popular crowdfunding platforms work, where if you don't hit your goal, you don't get any of the funds. And if you hit more than 100%, you will also get that. We don't keep anything. So if you got to 100% early and you think you can keep going, you can continue to ask for the support. Make sure though that you do share what the additional funds would be used for, and the platform allows you to do that via updates and editing your text. So we'll share how that can be achieved later. So this may seem like it's a lot of emails in 1 month, and it is a lot of emails in 1 month. But as we told you, emails are the best channel to get this to happen, to get your project funded. And if keep in mind, these are personal emails sent from you personally to your list of personal contacts. So the experience is not as annoying as if the emails came from a kind of a formal communication. So this is why it's really important to make sure these emails stay personal and are sent to people that that are in your networks, and written by you in a way that looks like it's written by you. So take these emails very seriously, devote the time, put in the effort, because they are the channel that will help you reach your goal. So just reiterating the timeline here. So the launch email has to go out on the launch day. The thank yous begin with your first gift and are ongoing until the last gift. Early momentum. Email is about 1 week after, so this is that 30% email. The halfway update is about 2 weeks after your launch, and the final stretch is that week to 3 days before the end, and the last day goes on the last day. We highly recommend that whoever is sending the emails in your team marks these dates on their calendar so that they don't go late, and that you have a plan for what these emails are going to be ahead of time, so you're not scrambling to write them last minute. We will share some templates later in the presentation, a copy for these emails that you can share with your ambassadors for them to help them craft their email messages. So some best practices. We have found that if every ambassador on your team reaches out to 20 contacts with these consistent messages throughout the month, they will approximately raise about $500. So we do this calculation when you set your goal, and that's how we decide if you have enough ambassadors or not to fund 100% of your goal. But your ambassadors have to be committed to sending, if you are an ambassador, you have to be committed to sending these 6 emails in 1 month to 20 of your personal contacts. Everybody on the team has to do this. This is the way to get to 100%. So make sure that you have this list, that you know who you're going to be contacting, and that these people are close to you. So who can it be? If you start brainstorming now, it can be friends, obviously, family, alumni that you're in touch with through your college or any extracurricular activity on campus. It can be members of your community that you're close to. Or if you know anyone that is an influencer, maybe somebody has a very strong online presence, you might not necessarily ask them to make a gift repeatedly, but you can ask them to help you spread the word. And if they have a very large network, then that can help you as well. But make sure, starting now, that you're really thinking about who these 20 people are going to be and how you're going to reach out to them multiple times in the month. One thing that we do recommend, because you are all, if you're on the same project team, most likely you have shared contacts and shared networks, is that the project lead finds a way to review everybody's lists to make sure that there are no duplicates. So if one person has a professor on the list and then there's another person that has the same professor on the list, we would not want you to send all of these emails to that same professor from 2 different people on your team. So make sure that you have a way and a mechanism to share these lists with the project lead, and that the project lead then reviews the list and removes any duplicates to avoid confusing that person, getting multiple emails from different people asking for essentially the same thing. So really think about how you can coordinate this as a team, especially when you have contacts that are here on campus or in the same, if you're in the same community or in the same activities as somebody else on your team. Okay, let's talk a little bit about what you write in the email and making the ask. Asking for money feels a little weird, and we know that, we acknowledge that. And what we tend to do to make it feel less weird is to kind of dance around the issue. What we want to say to you here is, be clear, be concise, and help yourself not feel odd about making the ask. Really focus on, why does this matter? Why is this project important? And since these are the people receiving your email are personal contacts to you, that's what they care about, So when you're asking for the funds and the gifts, explain very clearly what you're asking for. If you're trying to raise money to build something, explain what the positive impact of the thing you're trying to build is. If you're trying to raise money for a trip, explain why this trip matters and the cost that it's going to have, the impact it's going to have on other people's lives or your life. And tell them very specifically how they can help. You can ask your people, your audience, to make a gift of a certain amount. You can ask them to share your project on certain pages that you know that they're active in. Ask them very specifically what you need. One way to really think about impact and how to describe impact is to think about what happens if the project is not funded. So if this is a trip to a community and you're going to help what happens if you don't go and you don't help there? So that's a good way to think about the impact of your project, and really try to use that when you make the ask, when you ask for a gift. The other thing that is important is why now? Like, why should that person act right now when they're receiving this email? Tell them that making the gift now is important. If you're close to the 30% mark, if you're close to the halfway mark, if you're close to the end of your project, really use the time and say, we're at 50%, we're really close to 50%, and use that sense of urgency and explain to them why making this gift now is important. Also, tell them, your crowdfunding project does have an end, and if the gift isn't made now, then there's not going to be a way to support this project. So use that urgency as much as possible in your communications, and don't be shy about being clear and concise and asking for the gift by explaining why this matters to you and why this will essentially make the world a little bit of a better place. Another thing to think about is sharing with your donors or your potential donors that they can give at any level. All donations count. All donations are important. Oftentimes we find donors feel like if they can only contribute $15, $10, that's not enough. But these small gifts do make up a large amount of project's funds. So tell them that all donations count. Share in your emails how many people have actually made a gift already. So you can ask them to become a part of that community. If you share, 50 people have already made a gift, will you join them in supporting us? Share the average gift size. If the average gift size for your project is $100 or $50, share that in your email as well. Say, 50 people have made gifts of an average of $50. Can you join them by also giving $50? But if they can't, any gift counts, and you can show them the donor wall on your page and see, there are gifts of many sizes, and what really matters to you is the overwhelming support of all the people you care about. One thing to help people decide how much to give are your giving levels on your page. So you can try to share some of these in your email. Try to get, instead of, you might not know if somebody will click on the link in your email and go to the page and see your giving levels. So you can say a gift of $25 allows to purchase the materials to build a piece of your project, or a gift of $100 will pay for the bus ride to the conference, or whatever it may be that you're raising money for, whatever your giving levels are. You can share that in the email. You can share one or two in the email to make sure that your potential donors understand that any gift, any size, is going to have a really positive impact. Okay, so we talked about the email types, and I'll reiterate it here. You should think about writing content for all of these messages: the pre-launch, the launch, the early momentum, the halfway mark, the almost there, the last day, and the thank yous. So if you have a writer in your team or a communicator, or if you want to use our templates, these are the big themes that you need to be writing about. And as I said earlier, we do have templates to help you at this link here on our toolkit in the Ambassadors tab. And you'll see templates for each one of these email types, except for the pre-launch. We're kind of letting you handle that one on your own, as well as the thank yous. So you'll see text samples of launch, early momentum, halfway mark, almost there, and last day. Just as a reminder, be very friendly, be clear, be concise, include the context. Like, what are you asking for? Why? Why does it matter? And do not forget to include your project link. Believe it or not, this happens. So if you send an email, make sure that you're sending a link to your page so that they can make a gift. If you are using the ambassador functionality of the Scale Funder platform, each ambassador has their own personal link that they can use. What this does is that it allows you to see how many gifts have come in for a certain ambassador, through a certain ambassador's emails, and it makes the thank yous very easy because you have a donor list directly linked to the ambassador that sent that link. So your ambassador, or if you're the ambassador, you can be the one that sends the thank you emails to your list instead of trying to split out the master list of your project. So just make sure that you do have a link in the email so people can make a gift. This is an example of a template, and we give you two different documents. We give you this blank template with these cap letters where you would insert the things that are relevant for your project. And then we give you a sample with a fake project that we made up. So you don't have to follow this. This is just for you to read what one of these emails could look like and change it as you wish. Some of these are a little wordy. You might not need to write so much. If anything, I would say the first email maybe be a little bit more detailed about what you're raising money for and provide a little bit more context than in the other emails, but you don't have to write these long emails every time. So, you know, play it by ear. You know your contacts. You know what they would react to. So use these as much as you want or change them completely depending on your situation. I put the thank yous here again because they're really important. Please make sure you start sending thank yous as soon as you start receiving gifts. Ideally, the person that contacted the donor is the person that will send the thank yous to that donor, but if that is something that is really difficult to figure out at the beginning with the volume of gifts, then you can have one person sending all the thank yous, but just make sure that a personal thank you goes out to the donor that made a gift 1 to 2 days after they made the gift. Thank yous don't have to be very long. You can just, you can say very quickly, thank you for your gift. This is what it's allowing us to do. Thank you for joining a community of 60 supporters that have already helped us. We'll keep you updated in our progress, and you can do that. You can share whatever you want to share depending on where you are in the month of your project and these thank yous, but just make sure that they're personal and that they are polite and that they go out on time. Speaking of donors, a lot of your outreach and your ambassadors is going to be to potential donors, your contacts, people that maybe have not given a gift yet. However, if somebody does make a gift, you have to think about how you continue to communicate them throughout that month. We do not recommend that you continue to ask them for gifts every time. So if they made a gift early, do not keep asking them for gifts throughout the whole month. If you do want to go back to them, you can do it toward the end of the project if you're really close to being funded and you need like very little to get there. You may go back to your donors and say, can you help us reach this goal? We appreciate your generosity already. We're so thankful you've helped us get here so far. We're really trying to get to the top. I would not say that I recommend this, but this is something you can do that will not seem intrusive or invasive. Make sure, again, that they receive a personal thank you after they make the gift. This is the way that you make reaching out to them again possible. If you never thank them in the first place, you really should not reach out to them again. So thank them in the first place. The other way that you can do this is through the campaign updates in the Skill Funder platform. So if you look at your page, your Skill Funder page, there's 3 tabs: your main description tab, there's the updates tab, and the donor wall tab. The updates tab is kind of like a blog where you post updates about where you are in the project and what you can accomplish with the funds that you already have. If you post something on there, it will show on your page, but it will also be emailed to all of your donors. There is a setting in Scale Funder that you can toggle to send email to your donors via that update function without displaying it on your page. So if you just want to send updates to all of your donors in the back end without it being visible on your site, you can do that. Or if you want to share public updates, they will also be emailed to your donors. So when you post these updates on your page, do not make them about asking for gifts. Really make them updates. So where are you? What have you accomplished? What can you accomplish with the funds you have so far? We recommend about 4 updates in the month, once a week. Use pictures, use videos, and this is also a good place to thank your donors for making a gift. So again, updates are not for asking for gifts. They are for updates and thank yous because they will be emailed to your donors whether they are public on the site or not. At the end of the campaign, you should post a project update, kind of closing it out, and you can also send an email to everyone that gave and everyone that did not give, sharing where you landed. And we really recommend for the donors, the people that did make a gift, that you send a 3-month update and a 6-month update. And you can actually do this through ScaleFunder. Again, in the donor, in the update functionality, you can schedule them to be published later. So if you want to do that, you can. However, we recommend that you actually just remember to send an update 3 months and 6 months later, because we would like you to share what you have accomplished since your project was completed. So if 3 months later you have, built 20% of your prototype, or you have planned your half of your trip, or whatever it may be, we really want you to share that with your donors. Again, thinking of the future, if future teams are going to reach out to these same people, or if your own project team is going to have another crowdfunding project, these are the people that are most likely to support you again, so you have to create this relationship with them. Really think about these 3 and 6 months updates, and don't forget to do it. They're very important. I know things kind of slip our minds when we're into something else, but these are very important for your future and continued success. All right, let's look at the communication audit briefly. This is what the communication audit looks like. It is essentially a Google Doc, a Google Sheet actually, and what we have listed here are all the potential channels, and we have very specific questions asking you, kind of prompting you to think about the channels that you have. The areas in yellow are the areas that you would fill out, and then if you look across the top of the screen, there are these dates on there. You would replace these dates with your launch date to your end date, and then fill out the timeline with an X where you intend to use the channel for something. This is how you will see if you're planning to cover the whole month in communications, and if there are any gaps that you think you could fill with one of the other channels. So take a look at this audit in the toolkit, and this is a required document that you must send to your liaison before your project goes live. So make sure you do that so we can have your project go live on time. You can also access the email templates from here. If you look at the donor, non-donor links on there, those are direct links to our samples, our email samples. If you have any questions about this training, please feel free to contact your liaison or me. My email is on here, or you can contact both of us, and we will help you as much as we can to craft your communication strategy. We know you're going to be successful. Best of luck to you, and we're here to help.